Hi everybody, welcome back to Tuesdays with Paula. I'm Paula K Bronte, your Master Rapid Eye Technician. Are you an emissary of the light? Or are you an enemy of the light? That seems like a very harsh question. However, what's happened in my experience, my perception, and the things that I'm learning and seeing is that we have gotten to a place in our evolution as human beings. We're at that pinnacle now in our transformation. It's happening now and it's happening fast. And the sorting out process has happened. If you are a Harry Potter fan, and you know they do the sorting process with the hat in the beginning of every school year, and they sort them into different houses. And the houses all have their character and their flavor, and you have an idea of who the people are based on which house they were put in. Well, the sorting process has happened on the planet, according to what many, many teachers are telling us now. And you're either chosen light, you've either chosen to be used as a vessel, as a channel, as a presence of light for the transformation and the rebirthing of this planet into the ascension, into the divine state that is inevitable. Or you've chosen to allow the human creation, the human lower, darker, vibratory forces to come in and use you, to take over, to say, okay, weak human being, this lower vibration is the one that's going to come in and make home in your body, make its home in your brain and your mind, and have you just wallow in the hate and the filth and the belief in lack and all the lower vibrational experiences that are happening on the planet now. We're seeing polarities now more and more being really distant. Separation in the polarities happening on greater levels in many more arenas. We see rich and poor more than ever before. We see people that are working with higher consciousness and people that are not. We see all kinds of polarities happening on the earth right now. And it's an indication that the sorting process has been going on for a while, and it's happened. The time of choosing has come and gone. That's why for so many years we've had such an influx of information coming from the heavens. So many teachers, so much information, so many ways of giving us the same message, basically. Creating our reality and choosing light. And if we haven't done those things, if we haven't created the reality that's in alignment with our divine source, and if we haven't chosen to be emissaries of the light, then by default, we have made ourselves vulnerable and open to the darker forces. And we see it every day, all of us. You know, whether you know that that's what you're seeing or not, you know when you look at somebody and they're not really who they are. Right? They're not, I call it having company or being slimed. People that are addicts, addictions of all kinds, violence, people that have deep mental illness. I can't even go in. The list is extreme. Physical health, physical illness, disease. These are all situations where the lower vibratory forces, the dark forces, whatever you want to call it, has just come in and made its home in the human being. Because that person wasn't consciously, powerfully choosing light. By default, they became someone that's being used by the darker, lower forces. So the question is, are you an emissary of light? Have you chosen to be an emissary of light or an enemy of light? Or an emissary of light or an emissary of dark? And I'm generally not the person that's all about black and white, either or. Right? I couldn't possibly be as successful as I am in my practice. I know that there's I wouldn't even call it gray area. I would just say that there's ebb and flow in everything. And there's a level of existence beyond our judgment. However, right here, right now on the planet, we're in that place where we are either in light or we are in dark. And being an emissary for the light doesn't mean that you're always walking around absolutely perfect and happy and, bells and whistles and joyful and giving love all the time. We're still in a human body, still having a human experience, right? You can still get angry and pissed off and do the things you do. However, rather than allowing those experiences to grab a hold of you and become a portal through which the lower forces come in and then control you on a more permanent basis, you have the consciousness to be able to see it, to notice it, to manage it, and to shift it. Because you have been working with the light. You've been doing your work. So being an emissary of the light means simply being conscious of the fact that you've chosen the highest vibration, the highest experience possible for you and those around you. And sometimes that will change. Sometimes your highest experience in the moment may not feel very high, but it still makes you an emissary of the light because you're conscious of it and you are working on it and you're able to shift it. You're able to notice, I am out of harmony right now, and I'm going to do something to change that. An enemy of the light isn't going to do that. They just believe, we see the polarity that I really avoided mentioning was politically, right? So the enemies of the light are the ones that really feel like they're absolutely right and they're just as we believe we're right and just. In the darkness, they feel that the hatred and the anger and the greed is just as justifiable as the love and the light is, because they have become emissaries of the lower forces. So if you ask yourself the question, am I an emissary of light or an enemy of light, and you know that you're an emissary of the light, then really own that, claim that, begin your day, go into your meetings, base your relationships on that self-identity, on recognizing that, claiming and owning, I'm an emissary of the light, which means that you will bring more light and more consciousness and more access to the field of unlimited possibilities than you would if you had not claimed that identity for yourself. And it also is a message that allows the lower vibratory forces to know that they can't screw with you. You've made your choice, and you're not accessible, and you're not vulnerable, and you're not available to those lower forces that want to use you for negative and hateful outcomes. Okay, all right. I think that's probably enough said on that subject. It's very different than what I usually talk about, but it's time. It's time for us to realize that if we haven't made a choice, then we are really, really, really just coming in under the gun on being able to make it. Am I an emissary of the light or an enemy of the light? And I pray that you all choose to be emissaries of the light. Own it, claim it, wear it, speak it, be it. Because the more of us that do that, the quicker and the more graceful and the more exciting the ascension and the transformation of our world becomes. All right, everyone, I love you. Bless you all. Spend your week in light, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.